Hiya. Oh, thanks a lot for coming along. Tonight's show is about the Tube, is about railways, is about the Labour Party and fuck-ups in general. And I know people who will be watching the show who are not from London are going, why are you talking about the Tube, which is in London? Well, 3 reasons. Firstly, it carries as many passengers as the rail network does in a year. Secondly, people who visit London use it. Thirdly, Tube privatisation is the biggest flagship going. This is a flagship policy. And if they sink this one, we're on a roll. We're on a roll. Because up and down the country, there are hospitals being put out to private tender, there are schools getting private finance, there are roads, there's railways. People have had enough of it, they're sick of it, they don't want it. And if they win in London on the Tube, everyone is invited down to Trafalgar Square for the riot. Party. People don't want the Tube to be privatised. Prescott is the architect of Tube privatisation. John Prescott. Like he fucking uses it. Do you know what I mean? I travelled during the rush hour on the Tube. I would know if John Prescott was there because we'd feel his presence. John's on, everyone. Squeeze in. He doesn't even know what the fucking Tube is. He probably sees people disappearing into holes in the ground and thinks it's a nostalgic reunion for the mining industry we used to have. Driving past. The thing about it is, when you privatise a rail network like the railways or the Tube, you fragment it. You get all these different companies to do this, and everyone has to talk about whose responsibility is, who's doing that. I'm renting from you, you're renting from me. This is going on. And this is the thing. We met a guy, right? This is kind of like a really just small example, but I think perfectly illustrates it. We met a guy called Danny McNichol who gave us a ring. And he used to work for British Rail up in Derby, and he used to work on the track. And he had an accident at work, and there was a van drove into a ditch, and he had a back injury. Balfour Beatty took over the running of the contract. When he got better and was able to do light duties, Balfour Beatty said they couldn't find him a job. So he couldn't go back to work. But they wouldn't sack him. So he can't work, but he can't be sacked. And every week, Balfour Beatty sent him a paycheck with the grand sum of naught. Every week, he got one of these. In fact, I'm fibbing slightly. Danny, by the way, has got boxes of these things. One of them here is for naught. The next week, I don't know why, he gets 7 pence. And then he's down to naught again. And I said to Danny, what'd you get the 7 pence for? He said, I think it was performance related. Balfour Beatty, by the way, say, well, the reason we gave him all those pay slips was an anomaly that we inherited from the pre-privatisation era that merely took us 5 years to work out. Right? Now, Danny, he took them to a tribunal because he's a feisty bastard. He actually formed a band called the Balfour Beatty Won't Let Me Go Back to Work Band. And he used to tour it around pubs in Derby. I thought it was magnificent. Yeah, that's one. Don't you wish that other bands would do that? The S Club 7 were called Polydor Record Exploit Talentless Teenagers for Profit. Wouldn't that be... So anyway, Danny, right, he wins his tribunal. He takes him this long to prove that Balfour Beatty are his employer. The day that he won his tribunal, well, shortly after he won his tribunal, we went up with him because the tribunal said that Balfour Beatty employ him and must find him work within whatever branch of Balfour Beatty it is. They have to get him a job. This is Danny McNichol, who's presenting himself for work today. Yeah. And he's come here to see if he can get his work.
I notified them I was returning to work today.
Oh, you've lost me, yeah, I'm sorry.
Danny,
yes.
Do you want to explain?
Can you turn the camera off, though?
So we crossed the corridor into another bit of Balfour Beatty. They said Balfour Beatty, they said Balfour Beatty Projects. Danny McNichol reporting for duties.
You're not supposed to be meeting Tracy Harrison, are you?
Am I?
Personnel manager. Personnel?
She might be handy, though. Then we went into another bit that's Balfour Beatty track maintenance. And we said, hello, Balfour Beatty, ready for Danny to start work again. The tribunal said that Danny should be sorted out as soon as possible. Right. And Balfour Beatty were responsible.
Okay.
And so Danny's sort of merely reporting for work, because that's the ruling from the tribunal. And they said, no, don't know anything, sit there. Another bloke says, you've got to go. Then someone says, you've got a phone call for you. I'm like, what? So we're in this weird Franz Kafka nightmare with hard hats, right? Tracy, It's Mark Thomas from Channel 4. So you want us to leave the premises, right? She said, you've got to leave the premises now or we'll call the police because you're trespassing. I said, does that include Danny? She said, yes, we'll do him for trespass. Is your employee?
Can I stay?
Can this Danny chap stay, or has he got to go as well? No. You've all got to go, please.
All of us.
All of us got to go. Danny's got to go as well. OK. Now, many of us would find this an enviable situation to be in. You know, I'm here for work. You can't come in. Hooray! So, we go to Balfour Beatty Regional Head Office, and to prove that Danny is capable of light duties, we have a flatbed truck with an office fully equipped on the back of it. Danny gets on and starts to prove he can do light duties, like answer the phone.
Hello, my name's Mark Thomas from Channel 4. We're filming it here. Are Balfour Beatty around?
But I can't let you in. I've been told not to let you in.
They won't come down at all?
They said if it's for him, it's got to go up to him.
Why are they so cowardly? They won't come down, Danny. No one will come down at all.
Oh.
They won't talk to us. They're hiding in the office somewhere.
Good afternoon, Balfour Beatty Rail.
Well, is Trace Harrison there too, please?
I'm afraid not, no, she's out of the office at the moment.
Oh, right. Can I speak to somebody else? Yes, Danny McNichol. I'm recording here for Channel 4 and I'd like to speak to somebody. I'm due to return to work today.
I'm afraid I can't speak to you while recording. You'll need to speak to the press office at Marjorie Hooper. You've
Oh,
already
right.
got the number.
Can I speak?
Thank you.
And who are you?
I'm sorry, I'm not prepared to give you my name.
Oh,
Thank you.
that's fair enough.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
So anyway, they call the cops come along, and they're quite sweet, actually, because they all bought us a cup of tea. We got chatting to the cop, and he said, look, what do you want? I said, well, I want Danny to get a job.
We're not living in fairy tale world, are we? What's going to happen?
There's debates there.
They're not going to come down and say, right, come on, Dan, come on in. This is obviously you and Danny are here for a reason, and you know I appreciate why you're here.
Right.
The report we had was that you'd entered by force.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I know it is. I spoke to the officers, and I'm happy that there was no forced entry.
He said, but you've got to move on. I've got things to do. They've got things to do. You've got things to do. You have to move on. And listen, you know, I hope Danny gets his job back. He's a really nice copper.
We'd quite like them to come and talk to us about it, but I mean,
at the end of the working
they're not
day,
going
'cause, you know,
to. They're
you're
not
not
going
gonna
to. They're not going to go. They're not going to do that. They don't want to come out and talk about it because they're rightfully embarrassed by the situation.
In fact, I phoned him on Friday just to say, look, we're including a bit of you in the film, and just a really courtesy call to let you know. He said, oh, thanks a lot. How's Danny? Has he got his job back? And I'm like, oh, don't make me like you. No, don't. That's just not fair. And he said, why did you choose Danny? He said, because there must be thousands of people up and down the country like this. And I said, that's precisely why we chose Danny. And this is the result of rail fragmentation. This is the result of it. This is what happens to it. This doesn't include anything to do with sort of like passenger safety, accountability, effectiveness, you know, reliability. And you go down to the tube, you know, because fragmentation has worked so well on the railway. You go down to the tube and